Right. Da-da-da-da. Welcome to the Tribal Future podcast. This is an educational podcast for tribal fusion belly dancers, art lovers, and goddesses. My name is Adriatica. I'm a painter, a dancer, breath worker. I work with the body in a myriad of ways. And I have also danced and come back to dance. And today, my guest, I started interviewing the tribal fusion belly dancers that I love because I was missing information on them and research. And today I'm talking to the wonderful goddess Dipika Vijay from India. Um, I'm gonna give you a short introduction to who she is, and then I'm gonna let her talk about her own work, which is amazing. So, she's a tribal fusion belly dancer from India, the creator of dark matter. We want to know more about what that is. She also created Badass Belly Dance. She's a badass belly dancer and has now moved to Goa. And she also does aerial hammock classes in India and has a master degree in design. Welcome, Deepika. Tell us about
Thank
yourself.
you, Adrian. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor being on your show and having these important conversations.
Yeah, we were just talking about, I wanted to record it, but we were just talking about, before I pressed on play, we were talking about, why I did this podcast because I was trying to research and find more information about what the girls are doing now since the little discussion that we have about the word tribal and everything. We will get there. But then you said, tell us what you said again.
I said that this is very important, and I'm very glad that somebody is doing this. We generally end up talking to dancers in our country, in our cities, but we never have these conversations across borders. People from different cultures and dancers from different backgrounds. So this is extremely important. I think it's very helpful to see other people's perspectives.
Yes.
Thank you for doing this.
No, thank you. I'm so glad that people like you are joining because I saw you dancing live and I think what you do is incredible. So I want to know, we want to know a little bit about yourself. Like tell us a little bit about yourself. Like where did you grow up? How did dance find you? How did you develop this badass belly dance style?
Oh, wow. I grew up in a bunch of cities within India. I was born in the state of Gujarat, in the city of Surat, and then I grew up with my grandparents in New Delhi, which is the capital of India. And then I did my master's again in Gujarat, in another city called Ahmedabad. So my culture, I am from this what would you call it? I'm from this culture of Punjabi. Yes, I'm
Hmm.
a Punjabi. My family is Punjabi
Hmm.
family, and I grew up majorly and then revisiting and living and doing my masters in the state called Gujarat, where the Gujarati culture is followed. So I've been dancing like I think all dancers uh, from childhood. Different. India is full of every couple of 100 kilometers. It's full of different forms of dance, different styles of music, food, clothing according to the state. It changes every couple of 100 kilometers. So I grew up in a state which is different from the culture I belong to. So both these are so deeply in me, and both the dance styles and language and food. I think I'm a mix of these two things very deeply. And one very exciting thing just happens to be is that I practice the tribal fusion style of belly dance, and some bits of it, some part of it was also like aesthetic part of it was also borrowed from the state of Gujarat, Gujaratis, and the nomads that live and travel within there. And so it's very beautiful. It somehow feels that it's like I was meant to be there, and I was meant to learn this form, and so it's very exciting for me after getting into it and realizing the back story. And besides that, I have formally never trained in any dance form apart from classical Indian dance form called Bharatnatyam.
Uh-huh.
After I got into belly dance, I learned that professionally, and then I started, doing a little bit of Odissi. I have been doing yoga for many, many years, and I now teach aerial fitness also, which is the hammock style. which is very exciting. I think the more you move and learn, they start talking to each other in your body. They start mixing and forming incredible things. So the more movement styles you learn, be it in fitness, be it in dance, healing, any form, it just adds such a deep, beautiful layer into what you practice. So yeah, I have a mix of a lot of things, and then I've done some bit of voguing and popping and whacking and a little bit of animation, um, and a lot of Indian folk styles, obviously because I was born here, and yeah, Bharatanatyam and belly dance. So this is the mix potpourri where I show my art, begin my art from.
Wow, that is so rich. You said so many things
Thank
that are
you.
amazing. Like just the classical Indian dances. For you who are watching India, like Europe has one classical dance which is ballet. India has seven classical dances, I think. Is it
Yes,
seven? Yeah.
yes, yes,
And one of
yes.
them, like the most known one is Bharatanatyam and Odissi, I think. I tried a little
Correct.
tiny little bit of doses of one of them, and the girls I was dancing with, they told me that they are also inspired by these sculptures that you have in the temples.
Yes, yes.
That they are very like sensual and erotic, I would say, but still in Indian culture, um,
They are
that's
how our goddesses look.
these are how goddesses look. This is how you look as well when you dance, but it's not
Oh, thank you.
it's not very common, is it? And what did you say about the Gujarat
Gujarat, the state of Gujarat, the state of Gujarat.
Gujarat and the nomads? Can you tell us a little bit more about
Yes.
because you actually have the relation to the world tribal
Hmm.
in India.
Yes, yes. So visually, when you see tribal fusion, it is a mix of a lot of things, but a lot was borrowed from tribes, actual tribes, and cultures from India. So I
Mhm.
think there is a beautiful mix of, visual aesthetics of Gujarat and Rajasthan. And the movement aesthetics is more from Rajasthan. So the way the flared skirts happen, the way the cholis, the way the big braids and roses, the facial, tattooing, the lip marks, and all of that. So I've been doing all of that with black eyeliner since my childhood in this uh, in this festival called Navratri in Gujarat. It is a 9 nights dance festival where the whole community, all of the people, men, women, children, grandparents, everyone, they join in to pray to a goddess whose idol is in the center of the ground. And then we dance bare feet and fully clothed, beautifully attired, and like festivally, dressed. And those are the markings that I've been doing since childhood. And when I entered tribal fusion and people on stage were wearing those markings, I'm like, really? This is so cool. This is such a beautiful overlap. So, the lines that we put here and the mark that we put on the lip and the dots that we put here, bindis, of course, everywhere.
Mhm.
So all the markings around here. And look at these dots on my fingers.
Yeah, I have them too.
These,
Little dots.
yeah.
My,
Oh, beautiful.
are they
Beautiful.
tattooed?
These are the Yes, they're tattooed, and these I have the same thing on my toes also. So these are from the culture that I grew up, the culture of the nomads of the state that I grew up in. It's a little nod from my end, a nod of respect that I was born here.
Mm-hmm.
So so
I love.
these this is the beauty that I find very very exciting.
Yeah, to which goddess were you dancing around? Just I want to know a bit.
Amba, Amba,
Amba.
Amba, A
I
M B A,
Wow, I love goddesses, but this one I haven't.
Ambama.
I will research on her. And what else did you say? You said something that I can so identify with because when I saw this dance style, I saw Sylvia and I saw the Orchidaceae crew and they were painted, and I come
Yes,
from body painting. So
yes,
when I saw
yeah,
this, I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
what? They're like painted and dancing. I wanna
yes,
do this. I wanna be part of it. And
yeah.
And I'm so happy that you're talking about this with your
Gorgeous.
cultural like background because it
Yeah.
makes so much sense. And I know that like for example, you so now comes the question. So from tribal fusion belly dance to fusion belly dance, did you ever stop
Mhm.
using tribal or did you continue to use it? And if yes, why and how do you navigated that whole water?
It's a very, very deep question, very important and very exciting for me because somebody's asking an Indian dancer.
Mhm.
Usually, when the whole thing happened, they don't call it this way, don't name it this way for certain reasons. And I fully understand and respect that. I will not go in any other country outside of India and utter the word tribal fusion because it may end up disrespecting somebody, and that's not what I want to do with my art. But
Mhm.
you have to understand the deeper layers of geography when it comes to any art and culture. In India, when we do tribal fusion, when we did the ATS formerly called FCBD now, the actual moves were borrowed from Indian tribes. They still exist, they still work, they still earn and eat, they're alive, they're thriving. So, if I don't use the word tribal, I'm erasing my part of culture from my dance form. And
Right.
I do not want to do that. You can ask this question to any Indian dancer, and they will all proudly call it tribal fusion because it has gone from Indian tribes. So
Mm-hmm.
it's disrespectful if you come to India and say, I will not call it tribal, I will call it tribal. Just exactly the same way, when I go out, I will not call it tribal because it is disrespectful to somebody else. So it's it's a geography, and it's the perspective of giving respect where you have to and where you don't have to. So we have, as artists, we're sensitive people, and we can handle both the sides. We can handle the paradox of it. We don't need to be only black or only white. We can flow with the geography, with the art, and with culture, because there's this beautiful word called fusion involved in our art. So
Yeah, well that's a very good answer. You know why I came to this because now I'm so I moved like you moved to Goa, right? You're in Goa
yes,
now.
yes,
You're starting a new
yes,
chapter, which is
yes.
amazing.
It's
And
exciting.
yes, and I also moved countries. I moved to Switzerland and I distanced myself a
So
little bit.
me.
And now I'm back and I
Wow.
started to teach in a school and she was like, but what are you? Are you a tribal fusion dancer? I was like, yes, yes, but no with the word tribal, because I'm from Brazil, so we also have tribes and shamans and
Mm,
it's a very living culture, but the style wasn't borrowed from there. It was borrowed from India and from Arabic countries and from nomadic cultures. So I wasn't sure how to call it, and then
yes.
I started like this big research, and I was like, what are the other girls doing? And I think that what you're saying is that if you have a context, like you're in India, you're teaching in India, the
Mm,
context makes sense. But in Europe or in the US, there are very few, almost no nomadic tribes. Like maybe the
mm.
people I was talking to Marta Eres before that do flamenco,
Yes. Yes.
which came from India. I mean, there's a story saying,
Yes. I know.
yeah, that they came from there, that you can
Yeah.
hear that in the clappings and everything. So yeah, it's a big question, and I think it's important to talk about it with harmony.
Yes.
We don't want to fight. We just want to
With
educate.
open heart, with acceptance. Yes. With full respect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully agree.
So thank you so much for your beautiful answer. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that? Because that's the chapter like origins, and then I'm gonna go to the chapter body, and then we have culture. Just opening the
In the cultural section, I understood what you wanted to ask and what you had. Were you, by any chance, you know, paving the way towards appreciation, appropriation? Were you wanting to discuss these ideas as well? Were you wanting? So
I'm
we can
open.
keep it for then. We can discuss it when.
No, let's just fluidly go there because I
Yes,
think
yes. I
that
think it would make
cultural,
sense if we have.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that cultural appropriation and appreciation is exactly what happened with the discussion of tribal future, which was for
Yes.
you who are watching, for those who will watch this and will say like, I want to learn tribal
Mhm.
fusion. There are a lot of people want to learn, and then we want to teach you the history, and people are usually not so
Yes.
keen to learn about the history. But dance doesn't exist
Yes.
without the history. So the
Correct.
short version of
Correct.
the story is that this tribal fusion belly dance was created in the US by some amazing women, but that they didn't have any connection to indigenous cultures themselves, as far as I know. And then they started to borrow the
Yes.
styles from other cultures. And that's how this whole discussion came up because the question was, why is it called tribal? And me myself, I came in, I saw a lot of painted people, and then you come in and you realize you're pretty much the only indigenous or black or African or Asian person in there. So where do we draw the line between cultural appreciation and cultural appreciation and appropriation? What would you say? Where's like what's important? Where's the
Um,
line?
I think there is. It's very hard to draw a line. Like I said, like culture and the culture and politics and arts, we can't look at it in black and white. It is impossible because
Mm-hmm.
human beings have such varied ideas, and everything is valid. If somebody feels bad about it, but do I feel the same way? No, maybe not, and maybe I'm also right. So as many people, that many opinions, and if you're doing an art form or practicing an art form that has mixes of multiple things, it is right to listen to all the perspectives and then bottle it down to a neutral or respectful, or in the context where you are, in the geography where you are. So in appreciation, everything is okay. You appreciate everything. You give respect. You feel the love for it. You wear it. You're bringing spotlight and attention to somebody else's culture. It's beautiful. When I see foreign dancers practicing Odissi, I'm like, oh my god, that is looking so pretty. Like I cannot stop drooling. I cannot stop being in awe that it can look so beautiful even on different colored and different types of bodies and different nationalities of people. It's just beautiful. It's magnanimous that somebody loved the culture of your birthplace, your homeland. So it's very nice. There is nothing wrong with appreciating. It should be done as much as possible. We complain a lot, but we don't appreciate enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be done in abundance. And appropriation has many layers. There's no this or that. Now, it has to be considered. I think when I think of these things, I ask a few questions. Maybe others can come up with their version of these questions or whatever feels okay to them. So, who learned who is learning and practicing it? Which culture did they learn and practice? With or from? Who did they learn it from? Now, what happens? I'm going to speak only as an Indian dancer because I have no other, experiences in being other foreign national or living or having two passports. So when we see in foreign dancers coming and learning Indian dance forms, it is gorgeous. When we see them practice, it is gorgeous. And there are beautiful dancers, very respectful, very nice people who have practiced it very honestly with a lot of discipline for many, many, many years. And that is incredible. Now, certain things feel a little murky in the brain when you think of these questions. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying they're doing anything disrespectful. But when they learned, they paid the Indian teacher in Indian money, in Indian money, and in terms of the exchange value in
Mm-hmm.
euros or in US, it's really low. It's really less. So when you learn as a foreign dancer, you pay in Indian money. When you go out, you practice, you charge your students in your currency. You charge in euros and you charge in US dollars. and that does not benefit the source dancer.
Mhm.
Unless you have a respectful to and fro that, as many students as I teach, I will give you X amount of thank you money for that, gratitude money for that, or a following fee for that, that, this is my respect for my teacher. You can have this approach. But I also understand the fact that this dancer is living in another country, paying her bills, and has to pay her rents in her currency only. So those subtle layers get involved. And I understand that also. So these are very difficult questions. So I heard other dancers say that, have deep knowledge, know the name, be respectful. This is the absolute basic, and even under that.
Mhm.
This is not enough.
Yeah.
This stopping at this point is not okay, is not enough. With
It's
that
just
being said,
it's just
some people are
artist
not even
credit.
doing that. So
Yeah, but that's the
yes,
basics.
yes. So
Artist
credit is
credit.
great. That is, it's the absolute bottom line, like the tiny font written.
Hmm.
It's so when you do that, just for an example, the carry forward is very beautiful. When you say, I have learned it from this teacher in this country, then your students will be curious to look up that culture, that form of dance, that form of aesthetics and movement, and that shines a light on that culture, and that may benefit in some form or the other in future, which is amazing. But that is if they choose, if things happen, if they decide to follow or pursue. If they are curious and they learn it, great. If they learn it, then what? What after that? How does this still benefit the source culture? Like, these are very finer nuances. It doesn't fall on the learner, the practicing, uh, to, take the whole agency or the charge. Because I've learned, I will make sure the culture earns and benefits. I understand that a whole onus cannot fall on that dancer also. We are artists. We're not like billionaires and millionaires. We are also trying to, survive and support our
We should be.
families and do things. We should be. We totally should be.
I think we should
So
be
I
the
understand.
billionaires.
So a lot of these questions, it's very difficult
Mm.
to, say black or white, or this happens and this falls on you and this falls on you. It is, in my eyes, the word appropriation and pointing somebody and attacking is not fair. But if anyone doesn't even give credit or name, once somebody had asked, another an American dancer was using a movement, and she pointed out that I have learned it from this American dancer. So will you please share with my students, where did you learn it from? So the second American dancer, she said that I learned it from Southeast Asia. And I so badly wanted to comment, please say Rajasthani. You lived in India, you visited here, you learned from living beings, people, communities that exist. You can't broadly point out, I learned it from Far East or Far West. This is erasure. This
Mhm.
is erasing culture. This is not giving the bottom line of respect, also. So when you appropriate, you're actually erasing things. And that is not how art blooms. That is a very selfish version of art. You
Mhm.
want to shine and you want to be forward, but you don't want to show where it came from. Art can only grow respectfully and beautifully with richness, with gravity, when you show your roots. When I told you in the beginning, I've done this, I named the things that I've learned from India, I named the things that I haven't learned from India. So you said, what a rich background. It adds beauty, it adds gravitas. So that should be visible. Otherwise, it's just flat, glass like, beautiful thing just in front of the mirror and nothing else.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, I got
sorry, I
goosebumps
just
like
went on. I feel very passionate about this. Sorry,
no,
continue.
that's amazing. I had goosebumps like I around like 5 times or so. You said you touched on so many points that are important, like and are very political because I think that one of the main problems is when you you live in a maybe live in a privileged country that let's say like Europe or the US and you travel to a country that is not so privileged, like India or, Brazil, or like actually most of the countries, or Africa, and you take from indigenous cultures there, this happens not only in dance, this happens in fashion, this happens in tattoo art.
Absolutely.
I'm a
Everything. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So as a tattoo artist, I have to say that this is also something that, you can observe in the scene. Some people
Mm,
do it respectful, some not, like the all the Maori tattoos that have big spiritual um meaning. They became something that looks nice, but it's, if you go back to the source, it's much more than that. So the problem is going
mm,
there, taking that because it looks pretty, and then selling it for a higher price, so making profit out of it, but not giving back. You have to give back,
yes.
and you have to credit the people that you learned from, and make sure that you actually learn something about that culture, whether it's the language,
Mm,
or whether it's like their costumes, or whether it's, because
yes.
these practices usually are not only aesthetic, they are historic, they have a history, they are spiritual practices as well. So you cannot
Yes, yes.
separate those things, because
Absolutely.
it
100%.
becomes empty, like you said, like glass, like empty.
Correct. I have also seen, like this is many years back, people using images of Indian gods on swimming trunks and on yoga mats and chapels, and our like Indian people will just freak out if they see gods, anything under under this. So we're like, how can you do this, and how can you step on the yoga mat with God's picture? And so these are very small things. So if you don't understand the meaning of it, exactly what you said, if you don't understand the roots of these things, if you don't understand the spiritual aspect of it, then it's not just flat. It may actually end up offending a lot of people. And I don't know if people want to do that. Why would anybody want to do that? Honestly, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I
So
think that
yeah.
a lot of it happens out of not knowing, out of ignorance, which is why I think
Yes,
that education is so important, like on a global, on every level. This is
a
how you change
100%.
things, like with education. But we haven't even started the second chapter, and we are here already. I think we have to do part two, Deepika. We're just like
I am
on.
up for a conversation whenever you want, Adriatica. This is such an important thing, and I have spoken about this again and again in some comments online, and then sometimes when you write comment passionately, um, nobody responds. Also, like from other cultures, and I know I'm speaking in a very abstract manner. It's not clear what I'm talking about, but
No,
I
it
don't want
is.
to point fingers. I don't want to uh, you know, uh, pull anyone down by saying these things. But
Mhm.
very interestingly, I was on a couple of panels of discussions around the same time when there were these discussions going on, whether we should call it tribal, whether we should even call it belly dance, whether we should. So, some people recommended in those discussions that we should probably not use these words at all. I said, if you're not going to use the word tribal, then, please don't just erase the terms, give the material also back. Like if you want to be a good soul, good Samaritan, uh, this is basically not understanding the point of art and fusion. Like nothing can grow without taking. It's just practically impossible. As an artist, I'm saying this. So I know that taking is okay, but how do you handle the taking is the point of discussion. Not saying that okay, I will not call it that is unfair. You are whitewashing the whole thing. You're erasing it. So I actually made a very fun comment. I said, if you're going to return the name, then please return the choli, the steps, the bindi, the roses, the face tattoos, the bangles. I said, return everything. Why just talk about the name? So
Right.
I just made a light joke, and I think it's a very heavy point that you can't just borrow the things and say, I will call it something else.
It's
It's not
it
cool.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Because if you take the word tribal, then give back all the things that came with it, that you were inspired, and then you will be left with what? Contemporary. That will be contemporary dance then, which is
If you pull out things from tribal fusion, you will give away the flamenco part of it, the jazz part of it, the In the 80s, they called it hip hop, but now we know better. It's popping and animation that we borrowed from it, the locking, the arm waves part of it, and the
Waving.
Indian
Yeah.
classical dance forms. Yes, all of that. So if you take everything out, nothing will be left. Nothing. It won't be the same movement. It won't be the
It
same form of dance.
it makes me
So
think of the museums, that you said something that is happening in the museum and in some of the, like ethnological museums where they starting to give back to people. If they start to give back, the museum will at some point, if a museum gives, a European museum gives back everything that they borrowed, there will be empty houses. There's nothing in the house.
and this
Yeah,
is the point to discuss. If they return it, it's a good thing. The countries receiving it back will be happy. They are, doing the correct thing. Then why is everyone getting upset about it? That museums are empty. It's a
yeah.
point to discuss.
It's a good point. We will have to do part two, Deepika, because we have like only 5 minutes. But I want to ask you one last question. But this was so good. This was like very condensed, beautiful information that is so important. I love that. So I'm gonna ask you something about the future because it's called Tribal
Oh,
Future.
please.
And tribal is
Yes.
like respecting, the ancestry, respecting what came before us. And the future is also having an outlook to what's to come. So, um, what does the future of dance look like to you? You can say in tribal fusion, or you can transcend the word. What would be an ideal future that you can imagine?
I think it is very exciting. I am, as an artist, I'm very excited. The future will be very eclectic, very, very exciting because it's not going to stop at only these art forms. It's not going to stop only at Indian and flamenco and jazz and popping, and more things are going to get added. So when you go to say Japan, you will see flavors of Japan seeping into it. When you go into France, you will see flavors of French dance form if they have cultural. I'm not aware. I'm sorry. I'm just taking the name. If they have any of their folk forms, they will start seeping in, and I'm very excited to see the future. If India can make tribal fusion its own, can Japan do the same? Can Switzerland do the same? Can
Yeah.
Portuguese people do the same? Like Portugal. So the idea is, I'm just taking names randomly, but a more a fusion that is made its own.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
dancers who are dancing, they've made it their own. They put their heart and their roots into it. So further fusions will happen, further roots will get mixed. So it is future, but the roots will seep in. It's exactly what your beautiful podcast's name is, like Tribal Futura. So it's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm very excited to see it. More
Wow,
things
me
will be added.
too. I'm so
Yeah.
excited. I don't know if you can see this, guys. I got goosebumps. Deepika, she has something. When she speaks the truth. I get like a lot of
Oh, thank
goosebumps.
you.
Thank you so much. I don't wanna
Thank you, Idrat.
cut. So I wanna just thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you said. I think you're
Thank you.
enriching all of this, and this will be online for the future, for those who wanna look into how to make the fusion respectfully. And watch out for part two.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay.
I don't know how to make this hard, but okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
In Asia, in some Asian countries, they make it like this.